Next on the Broadway Show, the stars of the new musical Days of Wine and Roses, Kelli O'Hara and Brian Darcy James. Plus Monty Python's Spamalot, it's back. I'm talking to Broadway's King Arthur, Tony winner James Monroe Iglehart. And we're taking a walk with one of the stars of Back to the Future, the musical. I'm Tamsen Fadal, and this is the Broadway Show. Happy New Year and welcome to 2024 in the Great Bright Way. I'm so glad you're here with us. I'm Tamsen Fadal. Days of Wine and Roses comes to Broadway this winter. The new musical starring two of Broadway's greatest, Kelli O'Hara and Brian Darcy James. Let's send it out to Paul Wontorek.
I like seeing you two together. I mean, I first saw you together, what was that, 2002, right? Sweet Smell of Success. You weren't the love story in Sweet Smell of Success.
No, we did intersect though a lot because our characters definitely were,
in cahoots.
Yeah, had an effect on the story, but yeah.
You know, I knew both of you at that time. You were both these up and coming wannabe Broadway stars. Look at you now, 26 credits, I counted, 26 credits, and this is the second together, right. The second of those credits. Is it crazy to think back to what you were like then, and do you remember first meeting each other?
Yeah, I'd seen him in Andrew Lippett's Wild Party, but then when I auditioned for Susan for Sweet Smell, I got called back and had a work session with him, and I remember that very well.
So I had been working on this for a while, and Kelli came in and auditioned, and we read together, and everybody at the table, behind the table, were looking at, like who were they going to cast, and then Kelli O'Hara walks in, and they were like, oh my God. We have to wrap her up. We have to just get her in. We have to just make sure she can do this. And meanwhile, I've been doing workshops and I'm like, hey, how about me? I'd like to get wrapped up as well. But they were right.
But it must be awesome to now be able to be in a place where you can develop an amazing show like Days of Wine and Roses. And I mean, because you've been actually working on this together for a while, right?
Yeah, I mean, the idea came right after Sweet Smell of Success.
Wow.
So
Because of her.
A while.
Because of her.
Because you dreamt this up.
Well, I wanted to work with him again. The era was right. I was putting it all together, and yeah, I knew the movie. I love the movie for some reason, and I thought it would be a good, weird, operatic, dark, artsy version to write it for Brian and for me. And things take a while, or things happen when they're supposed to, maybe.
It makes it actually super special in that way because you realize you just never know what's going to happen down the road. You don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, let alone 20 years from today. That to me is really, really special, and I really feel excited and grateful and astounded by that, actually.
Do you consider this a love story, Days of Wine and Roses?
Absolutely.
Talk about this.
Multifaceted. I mean, huge love story. I mean, but there's also a devastating love story with alcoholism, being that third partner. No matter what your relationship is to this theme, it just strikes us all. We'll each have our own connection to it. And that's hard to undertake and beautiful at the same time.
What kind of reactions did you experience when you did this show off Broadway? Were you hearing from people? What was it like sort of putting it in front of audiences today? People
are very invested in the trajectories of these characters in terms of their success and or failure, so that when they make bad decisions, the investment in the characters is such that you actually hear people say, oh no, like literally saying, no, don't do that, don't make that decision. Not to say that it's like a raucous kind of reaction, but you can hear them breathing with you and participating in a way that is very, very, very immediate and visceral. That's a very moving thing.
What was quite beautiful to me would be to walk out the door and have someone slip by me and say, thank you, 23 years sober, and keep walking. And I could feel that they felt understood, they felt heard, and they felt validated. Because when you can sit outside of a story and watch it happening in front of you, you can sit there and judge, well, that's not me, and feel so relieved by that. But you can also say, that's a good lesson.
I'm so happy that there's a place for this level of musical drama still, when I feel like so many shows are looking to give people joy and the glitter and the confetti.
Yeah.
But I'm so happy that there's a place for this level of, I don't know, just gravitas.
I think there's always room for that, because as long as something is impactful, then you're gonna feel like, that's why I came. And this show, I think, really, really is impactful, no matter how you look at it, in any capacity. Whatever your vantage point is coming into it, you're going to see a very human drama play out right before you that is full of just complete intoxicating joy and also just super, super harrowing challenges. So, that's what you want, I think.
What's your favorite thing about working with each other?
We're pretty sane, like in general, but so that they're I mean,
congratulations.
You're such a goofball.
Yeah,
like I think you
sense of
come
humor,
off like I
sense of
think
humor.
maybe both of us come off a little bit like someone the other day said something like, "Oh, I thought you were more like Mary Poppins or something." I said that. It was such a strike. And because people don't really know who you are. But we have to be really who we are because we just have to get this done. We have to go in there. Especially playing drunk, which is actors love to kind of, and we get in that some people overdo it and everything.
What are you saying?
Yeah, well, no, but you have to find the looseness, and what comes out of that is goofiness.
Yeah.
At times, which totally elevates the room, the mood. It breaks the ice. You're just a goofball.
Yeah, I am. So, I mean, I think also because of the nature of the story, it just requires so much. Like, imagine if it was always like, please don't talk to me. I have to be.
Well, then, and there are those experiences. I've had them.
It can work, but it certainly probably doesn't make for a great.
I mean, I studied that. Like, I could see where I'd be like, I'm Kirsten now, and that's what the method. But the fact that we can just go, and I know that this is, it's almost like a combination of reality, and that's what I love about it. There's so much of us in it, while telling the story that is wildly not us.
The search for the Holy Grail is going strong on Broadway with the revival of Spamalot. I caught up with Broadway's King Arthur, James Monroe Iglehart. Let's talk about Tony-winning musical Spamalot and what this means to you to be back on stage with the show.
It means a great deal. It means so much to me. My Spamalot family and I had a great time in Washington, D.C. at the Kennedy Center. Never in a million years did we think we'd bring it to Broadway, and the fact that we're here is nothing but a blessing. And we can't wait to bring the wonderful music, the great story, and the absolute silliness of the great Monty Python show back to New York City.
Who's the king?
You are!
Who's the king?
You are! Audiences just love this. We need a laugh.
Yeah, I think so. I think with all the things happening in the world today, I think people need to smile. I think people need to laugh. I think people need to remember that it's okay to be silly. I think there's so much it's like every time you turn on the television or listen to a podcast, it's like, it's a mugshot, or somebody's running into your house, or it's like the climate, everybody's either burning or freezing, and then you just need someone to just be silly and say something absolutely ridiculous. But I think you need, a bunch of really silly guys searching for the Holy Grail, but at the same time, being attacked by a giant killer rabbit. I mean, that is what this world needs right now, just to take your mind off the realness. I mean, when our show is so silly, and our show is just as silly as the real stuff in the world, at least our silly will make you laugh.
Isn't that scary?
Yeah, our silly will make you laugh, and I think that's what we need.
It is so true versus cry. King Arthur, it was built for you. It's just fun.
You know, it's funny. I feel so privileged to step into these shoes created by the legendary Monty Python, but also the legendary Tim Curry, and then to be able to step into the shoes for this, for this new season. It's really funny. Plus, it's King Arthur. I mean, I've been following this story since, the Disney version of Sword in the Stone. So it's like you follow these things, Excalibur. You've heard this all your life, and then to actually be able to hold Excalibur and play this role, even as nutty as it is, I think it's fun. Also, the fun part about my role is King Arthur's dead serious. He's dead serious to find the Holy Grail. Everybody around him is nuts, but he is dead serious.
Which what makes him
and
so
that's
funny.
what makes it so much fun.
I do have to ask you something else. Do you leave Spamalot just in a great mood I know it probably exhausted, but in a great mood?
Yes, absolutely.
I'm just wondering.
Because what you guys don't understand is what you guys see on stage is funny.
Yeah.
But there are so many, see, that's what I'm talking about. No, keep rolling, we're fine. This is real. This happens in interviews. I like unperfect interviews
me
when things
too.
happen.
I have a lot of them.
And what's funny is what just happened now
Yeah.
is exactly what happened. So what you guys see on stage is funny, but what happens backstage is even funnier because you are surrounded by some of the most amazing performers in the world. And these folks that we have in this show, I mean, from Chris Fitzgerald to Leslie Kritzer to Nick Walker, Michael Urie, I mean, to Ethan Slater, I mean, Jimmy
all of you
Smugula.
individually.
I mean, everybody individually is funny on their own, but all of us together collectively, I always look at Josh, our director, and I go, are you sure you want to get inside this bathtub with us? We are all insane, and it's great.
It's time to make like a tree and get out of here straight to the Winter Garden Theater. It's time to take a walk with one of the stars of Back to the Future. Here's Charlie Cooper.
I am so excited for you because I feel like this is a full circle moment for you.
I know.
Because you made your Broadway debut over a decade ago at the Winter Garden, and look, you're back.
I'm back home.
Literally back home. What does that feel like?
Oh my gosh, it does feel like a full circle moment. Like I was so young, I made my Broadway debut as Sophie. It was my first Broadway job, first Broadway show, and to be coming back now feels really special and playing this role that I love so much on the same stage. Yeah, I feel really lucky.
I love that so much. This show is just huge.
Yes.
Everything from the lighting and the illusion and the singing and the dancing, and it's just huge. It's incredible. Tell me a little bit about what brought you into this and made you want to be a part of this.
Oh my gosh, are you kidding? I got the first call for my audition. I was out of town closing my last show that I did. And I got the call and I was like, oh my gosh, I haven't seen that movie in years. And I sat down and I watched the movie and just fell in love with it all over again. And especially the role of Lorraine Baines. I was like, I must go in for this.
You were lucky enough to meet the actual people who were part of the movie.
Yes.
What was that like?
Oh my God, are you kidding? It was incredible. I died.
Yeah.
Leah Thompson came to our opening gala night and came on stage after and found me and we hugged, and then she said some really nice words after her. I was freaking out. I was like, I've seen her performance so many times.
Yes.
She's such an icon. I was thrilled.
Any good advice or any good what'd you get while in her presence? Did you glean anything from her?
She's amazing. She's cool, she's grounded, she's such a great actress, and she has such a cool spirit and energy, and I was just I was soaking it up.
Yeah. Okay, I have to ask you, if you could be transported back to any decade or any time period in your life maybe, when would it be and why?
You know, I want to go back to the 90s.
Yeah,
and I want to be an adult in New York City in the 90s. Because I was very young and I want to know what that vibe was like, because I feel like it was a cool time.
When you were a kid, because you kind of just referenced childhood, was there one show that really captured your attention and made you feel like this is what I want to do?
A musical?
Yeah.
Oh yes, You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown. Mm-hmm. I saw that on Broadway, starring Roger Bart.
No.
Yes, as Snoopy.
Oh my God.
I think I was 11, and that show I was like, oh my gosh, I must do this.
Yes.
Roger Bart was so iconic in that role, and my mom and I just loved it so much. And I marched back to my middle school and I was like, we're putting on You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown. I'm playing Sally. No, but I mean, me and all my friends, I was handing out scripts. I was casting everyone.
I love that. I love that so much. Well, listen, we're here. We're back at your home.
Oh my gosh, so soon, yes.
And listen, break a leg.
Thank
the show
you.
is so good.
Thank you so much.
Everyone and their mom needs to come and see
Yes,
this.
we're having a blast, and I
Yes.
hope audiences are too.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. All right, off I go to work. Bye. This is the Broadway Show, and we're back in just a few. It takes a whole lot of people to keep a Broadway show running, from the actors on stage to the orchestra, and of course the people behind the scenes whose names you don't see in the playbill. Let's send it out to Perry Sook.
Thanks, Tamsen. It's production electricians that keep the lights on here on Broadway. I'm backstage of the New Amsterdam Theater talking to the crew who keep Aladdin shining, shimmering, and splendid. All right, guys, I am here with Jimmy Maloney, the production electrician here on Aladdin. Jimmy, thanks for joining us today.
It's my pleasure.
So I gotta ask, where did you decide that this is something you wanted to do?
Well, this is something originally I didn't want to do. My father was in the business, my grandfather was in the business, but I was looking more into electrical contracting. It's what I wanted to do. But as time went on, I fell in love with the business. And that's how you get here. You really fall in love with the business.
Now, Jimmy, you talked about the importance of your team here for this massive project that is Aladdin. Who are we talking with now?
Yeah, this is Andy Catron. He's my moving light tech for the show.
So moving lights, we're not just, putting lights up and turning them on. These are fully operational. What's going on here?
Well, they're fully computerized lights. What we're doing right now is cleaning the color modules and the gobo modules. Gobos are the patterns that you see coming from the light onto the floor of the stage. And so they get really dirty sometimes, especially with the amount of pyro that we have in the show.
All right, Jimmy, we've made the journey over to stage left. I'm too excited. This has got to be our pyro guy.
Yes, this is Kevin Strohmeyer, our pyrotechnician.
Good to meet you.
All right, very nice to meet you.
So you want to blow stuff up, huh?
Yeah,
You came to the right
I might be a
place.
bit of a
All right.
pyromaniac if I had to admit. All right, so safety first. So we've got these
Safety
goggles here.
first. Yeah, you wear these when you load.
Now, what's the reason? Does something
Just-
ever go wrong in the loading
Nothing's
process?
ever gone wrong, but you never know.
When you say comet, it looks
Yeah,
like
exactly.
a comet.
It looks like a comet shooting across the sky. You load them up in these little tubes.
Mm-hmm.
Stick the tube in. So what happens is this goes to a module. The module talks to the console. So when I go over and play with the console, the module tells me what's loaded and what's not, and then we can shoot off what we have.
Oh, that's amazing. How many of those comets are you shooting off the show?
Well, there are 10 in the show. There's a total of 40 pieces of pyro in the show.
Wow.
Yeah, all different kinds. Stuff comes up out of the deck, overhead. There's all kinds of stuff going up over the genie's head, and it's pretty fun, yeah.
Jimmy, quite the operation here. Thank you so much for showing us around. So I think it's amazing. You're such a part of the show, from sound to lights to pyro to everything. But I got to ask you, what does Broadway mean to you?
Broadway means the world to me. It's really wonderful to be working on Broadway, but it's been nice. I've worked all over the world. I've been fortunate I've done Lion Kings in other countries, so it's taken me around and I've met so many wonderful people in this industry. It's been just really wonderful to work.
It's one for the ages, the critically acclaimed Broadway musical, Kimberly Akimbo. It's a story of a 16-year-old girl who has a rare and fictional rapid aging disease. Imagine teen angst while living in the body of a 70-year-old woman while also dealing with a dysfunctional family. Here's Beth Stevens with another edition of Building Broadway.
I saw Kimberly Akimbo when it was off Broadway way back in 2003. What made you two think it should sing?
Well, Janine and I worked on Shrek the Musical together, and we had a really great time, but there were a lot of people involved. And I said to Janine, I'd love to do this again, but like I write one of my plays, where it's just us by ourselves, and we can splash around for as long as we need to. And it was Janine's idea. She said, well, what about one of your old plays? And I said, well, what do you mean? And she pulled Kimberly off the shelf.
Right off that shelf.
Off the shelf over here. She said, I think this one sings. It has a big heart in it, and I think there might be a musical there. And then we started investigating.
Janine, you've worked with playwrights before, of course. How do you find your way into a piece that's already written?
David is an incredible structuralist, and I work from chaos. You should see my kitchen, and David's kitchen is very orderly and neat. So together we have a great structure, and there's places where the lines blur. I think we bring that out in each other.
I wonder what you see when you look at me.
Tell me about the music and how you found the sound for this play that had no music before. How did you find the sonic world for it?
One of the ways that I find the way into a show is the easiest song, the straight AAB song. I don't usually stick to song form. I really like going in and out, and I think that's one of the reasons that we've worked really well together is there's this idea of what can a song do and when should you stop because your ear can't take anymore. So it's always easier for me to start with that kind of simple one and then expand from there. Anagram is my favorite song in there because David's a really great, he is a master of the puzzleistic arts, I would say, and right?
Yeah, that Seth character is pretty close to who I was at 16.
Yeah.
Now, we talk about a scene a lot and say, where is it musically? Where does the song start? And how does the character change, or what is revealed? How does it end? And then I go away and write a lyric. I send it to Janine. In addition to what I think is the lyric, I will then send her 12 pages of noodles. And so it just goes back and forth in that way, that it's, you know, an attempt at a structure, then a whole bunch of messy stuff that she then gives shape to.
The search for the Holy Grail is going strong on Broadway, and in honor of the revival of Spamalot, we've got a new vlog over at Broadway.com. It's called The Weekly Grail, hosted by Leslie Rodriguez Kritzer. She plays the Lady of the Lake. The latest episode is now live over at Broadway.com. And that's going to do it for us, but for tickets, or if you want to check out extended cuts of all the interviews, head over to Broadway.com. I'm Tamsen Fadal, and this is The Broadway Show.